But actually what we now want to bring to you is one of the partners that's been working with the Lego team to show you how they've worked with Lego to really start to optimize their business and the influence that's had. And I'm really proud to welcome onto the stage Wendy, the CEO at RDP Creative, to come and tell us about that journey. Hello.
Hi.
Now, I know that we've had this conversation, not in front of everybody, Wendy, and I need the clicker actually, because then I can take everybody through some of your stuff in a little bit. But I just wanted to firstly talk about kind of, you started your journey to reduce your impact in 2019, and kind of what started you on that, and also maybe give everybody a bit of an update of actually what you do as a company.
Okay, so we're a promotional merchandise and bespoke retail company that work in the family entertainment space. And we were kind of making our products for many years, not really thinking about the sustainability angle of it, and kind of what normal people do, try and find things, and didn't really have a full direction where to go and what to do. And in 2019, Lego contacted us and said, we need you to remove single-use plastic by, I don't know, I think it was 24 or something like that, 22. I was like, well, we'll just do it tomorrow. And they were like, how can you do it tomorrow? You can't just change something immediately. And I was like, yes, we can, because we make everything uniquely for every customer that wants it. So I contacted our creative director, Sebastian, and I said, can you look at every item that we manufacture and see where you can get rid of any plastic that's in anything? We need to remove it. And also in line with that, we worked directly with Lego and did a document for them on every single item that we ever produced for them in that year, and we weighed what the plastic would have been in every product, so we knew from previous years what everything weighed, and we had little, as I say, drug dealer weighing scales out weighing every single piece.
Did you weigh every single
Every single piece. I swear, I wish I had a bin photograph like he had of me weighing every piece of plastic. And we sent the information back to Lego, and they got it verified by KPMG. And it was discovered that in 1 year, we had saved 10 tons of plastic. And when I saw that number, I was utterly horrified. And at the time, it coincided with me buying the company. Prior to that, I was an employee, and then I purchased the business. And I said, well, this has to be my #1 initiative for the company going forward. This can't happen anymore. We need to stop it across the board. So we just started telling our customers. We didn't ask them, we just told them. We didn't even tell them, actually. We just designed the products with no plastic in it. And no one was allowed to use plastic in any packaging unless they got my approval. And David Lamb, our head of sustainability and compliance, had to sign off a critical business reason that someone needed plastic in their packaging. And it was amazing, like our customers, when we started telling people, they were like, oh, wow, this is amazing. Why doesn't everyone else do it? And we can go on to other reasons with things. A lot of people thought it was actually going to cost more money. I find that story fascinating because it's not true at all. We have not increased the cost of anything to any of our customers. I've had multiple people question me going, no, it's increased. Everyone says it's more expensive. I can tell you that's an utter lie. Go and speak to any of our customers. No one has come back to us and said our prices have increased. If anything, they've decreased, and we're going to show some examples in a minute of different areas where we decreased the price for customers and where we looked at different packaging suggestions. This picture you have here on screen is the Don't Tell Lego's brand governance that we changed his face to be a sad guy in the plastic. But when we were doing this product, it's a really cute popcorn boy that you get we started in Legoland Shanghai, but it's a popcorn boy, and he was meant to be in plastic because it was food grade, and everyone told me you had to have it in plastic, and there was no other option. And I said, absolutely no, Lego won't allow me to do this, but it has to be food grade. What are we going to do? So I just went to our team and said, come up with an alternative option. And the alternative option was the paper packaging that actually passes food testing and everything. So this popcorn boy is sold all over the world, so it passes testing in China and America and Europe and everywhere. And it doesn't cost any more money. So again,
I was going to say, because like the amount of people that I talk to, and I've been on this journey for 9 years now. Oh, well, it's just too hard to do. It costs too much. The price goes up to the consumer, and the consumer doesn't want to pay for it. And it's that same old story. But You're saying that and was there something that enabled you to get to that? I know that we've spoken about volume maybe. Were there different levers or education within you as a business that you had to go through to enable you to start to do things differently and it be done in the market at the right price?
Yeah, there are certain things, like we do have minimum order quantities in place. But when we started this, because of the items we make across the board, like we work with all major film studios and brands and everything. So like, let's say if I'm making a bag for Lego, I can go to the factory and go, well, I'm going to give you this bag for Lego, this bag for Warner Brothers, this bag for Disney. I want the best price for all 5-10 designs, and then we make economies of scale across the board for doing that. So when some brands want to do smaller volumes, I'm able to go to the factory, look, we need to put in the smaller run for this reason, but we want to buy in bulk at the start. But it's also made us reduce the number of items that we put forward. So, for example, before I had the business, we had, well, let's say a movie released, we might design and produce 20 items across, like low, middle and high-end items. So we started reducing that down because we don't need 25 items or something to promote a movie. So let's reduce it down to 7, and then we get higher volumes, we reduce the price, and we're manufacturing less. There's less waste because we tell people you have to order within this window, and then we're only ordering what people have placed orders for. So with Lego, we do a global ordering system. They have a certain window to order in, and then let's say the orders come back at 10,251. That is all we purchase, is the exact number that they want to produce. And they're also so conscious of it, nothing is allowed to go on an airplane. So, yeah.
Brands that especially within movies, it's like we need this within a month or within 6 weeks, and we need it now, and then that just pushes the environmental elements and adds more. It just makes it harder on the environment, doesn't it? Yeah. So have you kind of put different rules in place now as a business to like don't airship? You know, there are the rules of things that you just don't do anymore.
Well, we have timelines, and we work very close with Lego to tell them you have to give us the style guide within this time period because we won't be able to produce the item. You can't air freight it, so you have to give us it by this time so that we can design and sample and produce. But it's not as long as everyone would expect. It's probably like 6 months or something is from getting the assets to us delivering something. Obviously, Europe is the longest, with the sea freight being astronomical, but we do think of other ways to ship things in a faster way. If you don't use a boat, there is the train alternative, which a lot of people don't use, but we use train as well to Europe.
It's so fascinating looking at all of it, and I know we've got some of the pictures of some of the great stuff that you've done, which I'm going to flick through before we run out of time, Wendy, because it's just phenomenal what you've done as an SME, actually saying, you know, normally it would take a long time for a brand owner to say, yeah, maybe you can reduce your single-use plastic 5% one year and another 10% the next year. But you were just like, we're just doing this, and I love it. Do you want to go through some of the other bits and pieces that you've been doing?
This was one of the early ones that I'm just saying, like when we had started with polypropylene and then moved it to rPET bags, and then discussing with Lego how we could improve it again. Instead of having polyester straps on it, we ended up with rPET straps and looking at more mono materials of products. But if you go on to the next slide, this is where the journey actually started when we said we wanted to remove single-use plastic. Sebastian, our creative director, went to the whole team and said, okay, everyone is to come up with ideas. It's not just one person's responsibility, it's everyone in the organization to look. So things like these was just showing different blank examples of how you'd pack things to reduce the packaging. Do you need packaging? Which a lot of people, I don't understand the point of it. If you're taking it out and it's just going in the bin, just remove it. Just don't do it. You don't need it. So it needs to have a purpose. And then when you go on to the next one, the one I was struggling with was on the left, the EVA foam, and I just called up Dan, another packaging expert with Christian at Lego, and said, Dan, I need your help. I want something different to EVA foam. How can I remove this? And he talked me through the option on the top with the key there on the right. He gave us that as an option, and then we take his input and look at ways of how we can do it, and we speak to our factories to say, okay, this is what we're thinking. What are the issues that you would have surrounding that? Should we use this color? Is there a problem with the color? Is there a problem with something else? But it is a journey. Like, the best thing that I say about working with Lego is I never feel nervous or that I'm going to be reprimanded for doing something wrong. I actually ask them for help, and they are amazing at help. Like I say, I'm only small person, like, you're a massive organization with all these thousands of employees. Give me some of that knowledge. So they do share it. It's amazing to work with them. If anyone's a licensee and is looking for someone, partner with Lego, I would say, because they've helped us, and it's always like, you could try better here. What about this area? And I always say, let me be the guinea pig. If you think of something new, like we're currently in a plastics program to see how we can improve on different plastics and what plastics we use. Yeah. So maybe next year we have some amazing story to share about that. But it is a journey, and then even better than that, we're bringing it into other people's products. So like if you saw before, we would have had keychains in poly bags and it was disgusting. And now we do things with cards. So like, I think there's someone from Paddington there. We have a product here and they wanted to be able to see the product at retail. So instead of putting single-use plastic on it, we just cut a window in the item. And this is all cards. There's no glue in the packaging. So it's a perfect way of doing something and just looking at different alternatives.
This is my favourite one because I've got these at home.
Yeah, this saved a lot of money for Warner Brothers. So we were making the butter beer. Yeah. And we were making them out of butter beer. This is a good story. The cups were in, I think we fitted 36 in a box, and they were like, we have no space in New York. So it was fine for Leavesden. They have millions of space. New York, they had nothing. They were, can you change the design to make it some way that we can fit more into the box? So we went away and looked at different options, and we came back with this stackable version. And the butterbeer logo on the front of it would have scratched, so that they wanted to put it in plastic in the factory, like you have to put it in plastic or the logo is going to be destroyed. So I said, I'm not putting it in plastic again. I had my weighing scales out and I weighed it and I said, absolutely no way. If you tell me I have to do it in plastic, I'm going to find someone way senior up the food chain in Warner Brothers and tell them that someone wants to do this. So what I did was I got one box, I didn't put plastic in it, and I air freighted it to New York to show, because if anyone sees a courier, they know they kick the box around the place and it's more bashed than anything in a sea freight. You can't test what it would be in sea freight. And anyway, it arrived in New York perfect, and we've been selling this design for well over a year. We do more than a container every month of them, and touch wood, I've never had any complaints of the logo being damaged. So
there you go. It's doable. I love it because you are showing that. So Wendy's got some of the examples out in the showcase area from when everybody's got time. Was there one
last
more?
slide?
Sorry,
there
Wendy,
is
Wendy.
Just, I don't know if anyone plays video games, but one of the biggest video games that released last month was for PlayStation. It's Ghosts of Yotai, I think is how it's pronounced. But a lot of collector's editions are normally in plastic vac form, and we looked at how we could make this in packaging that's all cardboard and paper pulps, and how every piece fitted in, so reducing your freight costs as well by, if you see it, it's kind of like a puzzle of the boxes fitting in and around.
It's really premium. I know we had a massive backlash in the collector's market a couple of years ago when a lot of people returned back to single-use plastic. But
Not
to
us.
me, I think this is just an amazing showcase. If you can get rid of the plastic, it can look premium. And actually there is a future, and the consumer will probably love this.
Yeah, and the freight, really good on it. Even into the packaging of how the box was transported. I have an example of it outside to protect it in shipping as well in the drop test. And if anyone knows selling to the Japanese market, they have the highest standards, and it was really well received throughout the industry. So we were really happy, and all the other games companies are banging our door down now saying, please, can you do ours for next year?
Your business has grown.
Yes,
You've
and our
done the
business
right
has
thing.
grown way up, by the way, so everything has improved by us making this decision.
Yeah.
So anyone who doesn't believe in being sustainable, then
So
I
one
don't know.
last word of advice to everybody in this room before we
Just do
close.
it, and don't do business with people who don't want to do it.
Amazing. Thank you, Wendy.
Thanks.
Thank you. That was super, duper, duper quick. I love that. Wendy's journey is a real powerful example of how partnering with your brand owners that have got that expertise can really help you.